Yeah, everybody is excited, and it's definitely something that is very highly anticipated. So I saw the other day with Alex Eala, yeah, that's been a talk, and which is understandable. There's some players coming from respective countries, like she's coming from Philippines, which is now a big deal. She's been the biggest ever, tennis player from that country, which is a big country, and there's a big interest. Athletes, really. So it's great.
Novak Djokovic has finally reached his limit. When a man who has spent decades competing on the greatest stages in the world, a man who has faced the most intense pressure-filled moments in tennis history without ever flinching, chooses to speak out about an issue happening away from the court, the entire world pays attention. Because this is not just any ordinary voice. This is not a commentator or a social media personality sharing an opinion. This is Novak Djokovic, and right now he is confronting Oprah Winfrey without holding back even one word. Before I dive into precisely what Djokovic said and how Oprah Winfrey has replied, I need you to grasp the complete context of what is unfolding here. This story goes far beyond just two well-known figures in conflict. This story centers on a young woman named Eala, a Filipino tennis sensation who has taken the WTA by storm. Her arrival at Indian Wells has the whole tennis world buzzing with excitement, and her path to this point stands as one of the most inspiring tales the sport has seen in years. Eala is not merely another promising young talent climbing the rankings. She is a phenomenon. She is a powerful statement. She represents living proof that tennis belongs to the entire world, and that greatness knows no borders, no single nationality, and no predetermined appearance. Her Filipino fans recognized this long before the rest of the world caught on. These are the people who supported Eala from the very start, individuals who journeyed thousands of miles from the Philippines to America simply to stand in the stands and cheer for their champion. That level of devotion is beautiful. That kind of loyalty captures the true essence of what sports should represent. And when Oprah Winfrey made racial comments aimed at Eala and at those very fans, she did not just insult a player. She targeted an entire community whose only fault was expressing their love for their champion openly and proudly.
I think Paula Deen was used as sort of like a symbol, but I think lots of people use that word inappropriately all the time.
That was the moment Djokovic decided to step forward. That was when the greatest champion of his generation concluded that staying silent was no longer acceptable. At a recent press conference when Djokovic was questioned about the remarks Winfrey had made, he gave a response so sharp and so thoughtful that it delivered a message far more powerful than any loud argument ever could. He did not raise his voice. He did not lose his calm. And most impactfully of all, he did not even grant Oprah Winfrey the respect of uttering her name aloud. He simply spoke directly to the comments themselves and made it completely evident that words of that sort hold no value in the world of tennis. He stated that Eala is one of the most eagerly anticipated players heading into Indian Wells at this moment, and that comments like those make no sense to him at all, because they have nothing to do with the reality of who Eala is or what she has accomplished throughout her career. Yes, everyone is excited and
yeah, everybody is excited, and it's definitely something that is very highly anticipated.
And then Djokovic took it even further. He declared outright that people who make these kinds of statements need to realize that tennis is not their domain. This is not their arena. This is not a space where their uninformed, racially charged opinions hold any real power or authority. And when someone uses the massive influence of their platform to tear down a superstar athlete who has worked hard to earn every single achievement, they should expect to be called out loudly, publicly, and with no apology whatsoever. That is the quality the world has come to recognize in Novak Djokovic over decades of watching him perform at the highest level. He is not someone who softens uncomfortable truths with gentle language when something is genuinely wrong. He faces it head-on. He says exactly what must be said and then moves on. And choosing not to speak Winfrey's name during that press conference may have been the sharpest statement of all. It conveyed that, in the context of this sport and any meaningful discussion about Eala's greatness and her role in tennis history, Oprah Winfrey's commentary simply does not carry enough relevance to warrant any acknowledgement. Now let us examine how Oprah Winfrey has managed this situation, because her reply has been just as telling as the original comments themselves. Any reasonable observer following this might have anticipated that she would pause, think carefully about the damage her words caused, and come forward with a sincere apology, not only to Eala, but also to the Filipino fans who were singled out, and to a community that was made to feel unwelcome in a sport their champion is helping to change for the better.
You hear those, you see those fools on Twitter. Sometimes they say some of these ridiculous things, but nobody in their right mind is going to do that to my face.
But that is not what took place. Rather than accepting responsibility, Winfrey opted for deflection. She claimed that these kinds of comments are normal. She insisted that everyone uses these words and that there is nothing wrong with what she had said. She offered no regret. She displayed no empathy. She refused to recognize the genuine pain her words inflicted on real people. And then she shifted to the attack. She began pushing back against everyone who had the courage to speak out against her, from fans voicing their disappointment online to legendary athletes addressing the issue in press conferences. She even made the remarkable assertion that people like Novak Djokovic lack the bravery to challenge her directly in person, claiming that the criticisms being leveled at her could never be said to her face. But Djokovic did not make any of these statements on social media. He delivered them at a press conference, on the record with his name, his reputation, and his entire legacy standing fully behind every single word. So that particular argument does not simply fall flat, it falls apart completely. And the fact that she has turned this into a personal feud instead of simply owning up to her actions shows exactly where her priorities lie. Djokovic's connection with Eala and his support for her success run much deeper than this single incident. He has been one of her strongest and most consistent backers within the tennis community for quite some time. He has publicly stated on previous occasions that Eala is the greatest tennis talent to come out of the Philippines, and that her presence on the biggest stages of the WTA directly reflects her remarkable courage, her unbreakable resilience, and her complete refusal to let anyone or anything hold back what she believes she can achieve. He has spoken with passion about how Eala, through nothing but relentless hard work and unwavering dedication, has put the Philippines on the global tennis map in a manner that will resonate throughout the sport for generations. And he has been absolutely clear that her pride in her Filipino heritage is something that should be celebrated at every opportunity, not something to be mocked, belittled, or turned into a target for racial commentary from media figures who have never picked up a racket in their lives. And Djokovic is not standing alone in supporting Eala during this time. Rafael Nadal, another giant of the sport and one of the most respected figures in all of tennis, has also served as a source of encouragement and backing throughout Eala's journey. When two of the most accomplished champions in the entire history of professional tennis are in your corner, when men who have won everything there is to win in this sport recognize something in you that is worth defending and worth honoring, that says something profound about Eala that no racial comment and no media controversy can ever take away. Former world number one Kim Clijsters also recently joined this conversation, and the viewpoint she offered brings an important addition to everything that has been discussed. Clijsters, who understands from her own experiences what it takes to survive and ultimately thrive in the harshest environment professional tennis can offer, spoke with genuine admiration about all that Eala has achieved. She emphasized the intense competitive atmosphere that has shaped Eala during her development and the exceptional degree of commitment that environment has required from her every single day. That relentless dedication, Clijsters noted, forms the real foundation under all of Eala's recent success on the WTA Tour. But Clijsters also delivered a point that ties directly into what Djokovic has been expressing. She made it clear that, along with all of Eala's greatness, she still needs protection. She needs the individuals who truly care about this sport and about her as a person to speak up against the negativity being aimed in her direction. Djokovic took that message to heart and responded without any delay. Beyond voicing his opposition to Winfrey's comments, Djokovic has taken real, practical actions to support Eala's experience as a competitor at the highest level. He raised his voice at the Australian Open, speaking directly to the WTA about the vital need to handle Eala's schedule and court assignments in a manner that properly respects the scale of her status. He urged the tour to place her on courts where her fans can fill every seat, where the atmosphere can match the magnitude of what she is accomplishing, and where she can feel truly valued in the way her extraordinary talent deserves. And through everything, Eala herself has replied with a level of grace that is truly remarkable. She sat down in a recent interview and decided not to speak a single negative word toward anyone who has criticized her. She explained that she chooses to view everything through a positive perspective. She said that even when she's been treated unfairly, even when people with enormous platforms have targeted her, she will not let that negativity shape how she moves through the world. This rewritten version keeps the full-length, dramatic tone and every original detail intact while sounding fresh and natural. All names, including the consistent use of Eala, as in the source text and references, remain unchanged.